military veterans protect our great nation. Pro anglers Jay Garstecki and Ben Olson made it their duty to honor our heroes. They want to share soldiers' stories. The perfect place to carry out this mission? A fishing boat. Get ready to launch Operation Fishing Freedom. Brought to you by Great Clips.
A couple of buddies out for a little fishing together, huh? Sure, but this is more than a fishing trip for Marine James Turner. A lot more.
Oh, there's a nice one.
Woo!
That's a big one. Keep them down in the water and I'll grab
Okay.
my thumb. Oh. Nice. There you go. That's a nice one. Nice job.
And nobody knows what life has in store in a fishing boat. Or when you join the Marines.
Graduated boot camp. I graduated that actually with honors. So I chose machine gunner. One of the instructors, he comes out and he just holds up 2 bullets. That's all he does. And he's like, this is the biggest round you'll ever shoot as a 0311, which is like a ground and pound. And then he holds up a 50 cal bullet. He's like, this is the bullet you get to shoot as a machine gunner. He's like, the choice is yours. And I was just like, yeah, that's what I want to do. I was like, I like that size of that bullet. That's pretty awesome.
James, the gung-ho Marine, found himself in a war that was not in the training manual.
And they never once said, we're training you to fight the hearts and minds, you know. We were trained to win wars and to win battles and fights. We were over there really to win the hearts and minds of the locals and to really show them that we're there to help them. A lot of the people there appreciated us for being there and actually helping them and giving them that sense of security.
He soon learned that some Afghan locals saw him as the enemy.
Kids or young boys would come out, they're either, giving you a thumbs up or flipping you off and throwing rocks and tomatoes and all this other stuff, So it's like, you got people throwing rocks and you're trying to just be calm and all this other stuff, but when you get somebody sprinting from around a corner and you see a hand, you don't know if it's a rock or something else. So, you're just always on alert. Even with like all the horrible things that I have done, it's like, how am I to know that what I'm doing is actually right?
For James, the questions with no answers began to weigh heavily on his mind.
Because I don't know how you win a war of hearts and minds when they're using bullets and IEDs. Especially once, we started taking fire and I had shots, rounds fly over my head.
James would complete his deployment and be sent home for the first time with the same question.
Little did I know that wasn't the end of my journey. It was just a new chapter. Didn't sleep much at all. Maybe 3-4 hours a night. Yeah, so I was dealing with a lot.
Too much. James dropped out of school, moved back to the Twin Cities, and wandered job to job, all while sleeping on the floor of an empty apartment.
That's when life was probably the hardest for me around that time. I felt like I was alone, and I hit rock bottom. I was home one day, and I was just contemplating ending it, like my life. It was just rough. And it was at that point that I realized that I really needed a lot more help than I was letting on. Yeah, it was just hard. It was really hard for me. And I thought I was crazy.
James wasn't crazy, nor was he alone. He now hangs out with other veterans in an organization called the Sparta Project.
It just feels like things are on a much better path for me now that I have all these tools or weapons in my arsenal to help prepare me every single day, because every single day is a battle.
Operation Fishing Freedom is brought to you by Great Clips, Recon Boats, and by Evan Root Outboards.
If you'd like to get some cool Operation Fishing Freedom gear,
Or simply make a donation so that we can take more veterans fishing.
log on to our website, operationfishingfreedom.com. We're gonna try for some bass today.
Host Jay Garstecki shares the boat with a special partner. His name, Eric Hill, and Eric follows fishing rules.
Rule number 1, always look cool. Rule number 2, always know where you're at. And rule number 3 is act like you know what you're doing even if you don't. If that fails, go back to rule number 1.
Hold on, let me get the net, let me get the net.
Looks like a largemouth. It's a hog.
Nice. Woo! Wow, nice fish. Nice fish. Nice job.
However, today is not about the fishing.
What age did you actually join the military?
I was 19 when I joined. I joined the National Guard at first. As soon as I got out of basic, I knew I wanted to go active duty someday. I went to the 101st active duty, and then I got orders for the 82nd. Yeah, I really enjoyed, jumping too. And
You're a paratrooper?
yeah,
How many jumps do you have?
57.
Eric first deployed to the Middle East. He spent 3 years in Iraq protecting convoys.
We were going to Anajaf from Al-Hilla, and I was what you call a trunk monkey on that mission. And because I'm such a small guy, I normally, volunteer for trunk monkey. Plus, you have the 240 machine gun. That's always fun to shoot.
Soldiers marked the armored vehicles with both English and Arabic. Stay back 100 meters or deadly force will be used. Eric became the warning behind those words.
But if they get in a certain range, we have to shoot the vehicle.
This harsh duty came at a cost. In 3 years, roadside bombs hit Eric's motorcades several times. The effects of war still linger.
Like overpasses or debris in the road, I have issues with, and, I gotta wear hearing aids now, and been around a lot of small arms fire and heavy gunfire and explosions. I did four years total in Iraq, so it does a toll on your body for sure.
But for many soldiers, including Eric, an even larger toll on the mind, post-traumatic stress.
I knew I had it. I just dealt with it, my own way. And then I was hard-headed, alpha male, combat arms guy. We're taught not to go to sick call. We're taught not to, just suck it up. You get back and they're like, don't say anything about it, you'll be all right. Drive on.
But Eric made another choice. He decided to get help. He found fishing as an outlet for his stress.
And I agreed to come in to Madison for treatment. That's where I learned about take-a-vet fishing. And then from take-a-vet fishing, I learned about Operation Fishing Freedom. Yeah, it helps me relax. Being on the boat, just sitting around like guys do talking, about fishing is, I found this is like my therapy now. This is what works for me.
Well, we appreciate your service, and we hope that every day gets a little easier for you.
One day at a time.
That's it.
Thanks for taking me out fishing.
It's the first of many times, pal.
I'd fish every day if I could.
Operation Fishing Freedom is brought to you by Great Clips, SKB Cases, and by St. Croix Rods.
Hey, so if I catch like a trophy fish, does someone have a technological advanced device to prove that I did that rather than it be a fish story?
If you'd like to see more behind-the-scenes footage and bonus content,
follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. If you're a U.S. military veteran living in Illinois, Wisconsin, or Minnesota,
log on to takeavetfishing.org to find an event near you.
Fishing is full of bad cliches. Good thing angler Chad Sturr happens to know one of the good ones.
Bad day fishing's better than a good day at work.
We share the boat with Chad, a veteran of the Iraq War.
The old red eye.
See, fishing takes Chad away from his past. At 19 years old, Sturr found himself on the streets of Iraq, a Marine on foot patrol among the enemy.
I signed literally June 6th of my junior year. As soon as I possibly could leave, I was going. So I left the day after I graduated. I knew right away what I wanted to do was infantry.
Chad ended up on foot patrols out of a forward operating base in Iraq.
I was a saw gunner. Squad automatic weapon, I was an automatic rifleman. Foot patrols is, I guess the easiest way to put it is what you see in movies. Guys walking through city blocks, guns out, full gear.
Every day, Sturr walked beyond secure camp walls in dangerous territory among Iraqi locals.
Taking fire the first time, it's an adrenaline rush. And it's
After he finished his second tour in Iraq, Chad flew home to Minnesota. Once a soldier, suddenly a citizen.
I had quite a few friends at the airport, and me and one of my buddies that had just enlisted went out to the bar, and my first night back, I ended up pulling a tooth out of my foot and a tooth out of my hand. Not mine. So, yep. It was, yeah, it was quite the week.
After 2 tours, Chad Sturr still deals with the ghosts of battle. A bottle became Chad's crutch.
You spend 4 years, all these kids are getting life experience, getting ready for, get their full-time jobs. You're just getting out of the military where, yeah, you've learned some life skills, but realistically, what do they transfer to?
Chad's life suddenly headed down a rough trail.
Between 2010 when I got out and October last year, there was more than one time I was sitting at my kitchen table with a pistol in front of me.
22 veterans commit suicide every single day. Chad found a reason to not only survive, but a reason to live. Turns out the outdoors would change his path.
For me, outdoors is the only way I've found a way to recenter myself.
Exactly why this fishing trip and this time outdoors helps heal. It's the act of fishing, where the mind focuses solely on the task.
It helped me just have quiet time to kind of, I guess, meditate, be at peace.
and Chad now wants other returning soldiers to follow his path.
If you can deal with it, get outside. There's so many things out there that us veterans can do just to, one, be with each other again, which we all crave that brotherhood again, or just to get outside and completely reset ourselves. There's so many programs out there to do it.
This week's nonprofit of the week, the Sparta Project. Their mission is to transform from the stress and trauma caused by war into resiliency and personal growth through a week-long retreat for veterans and first responders. Go to their website for more information.
If you'd like to personally thank a vet that you saw in one of our episodes,
or nominate a veteran to be featured in a future episode,
log on to our website, operationfishingfreedom.com.
Operation Fishing Freedom is brought to you by Optima Batteries, Power Pole, and by Temple Bay Lodge.
U.S. Army Ranger veteran Rich Verdone won't let cold weather get to him.
If the rod touches the water, the fish jump on board. I get it.
This may be just the beginning of Rich's fishing experience.
He got off. Nope, still got him. That's why I didn't know. That's exactly why I didn't know, man.
Rich's combat experience included 6 Army deployments.
I don't expect that someone would be as proficient as you are as a fisherman, or could honestly call themselves a fisherman if they'd been doing that job for 3 weeks or 11 weeks. There's still so much to learn.
Is that lunch, or is it?
Could they be prepared to go out and catch fish? Sure. Could they be proficient at it? Absolutely. I have no doubt that they could. But in my mind, I wouldn't call myself a fisherman in 11 weeks.
11 weeks, the average length of a military boot camp.
11 weeks doesn't dehumanize you, doesn't brainwash you. 11 weeks gets you prepared physically and mentally to accept the job that you're going to do. Going from one combat zone to just to get there is its own process. To come home from that is a process. Coming from an environment and a place where you are defending your country, where you are in combat, how do you just come back to this place where it is grocery stores and traffic?
Learning to cope would include a climb to the top of a 40-foot pole.
There's no cure for being me. I'm always going to be me. But the lens that I see the world through and how I interpret my environment has changed.
Rich, like so many others, found this change through an organization called the Sparta Project.
Sparta Project was the big turnaround for me.
Sparta, an adventure-based therapy program that helps soldiers detoxify their minds and bodies after war.
So there's no ways around it. You go to war, you need help. Maybe it's not talking. Maybe you just need to be around people. Maybe you just need to find some people you can go fishing with or hunting with. Or if I take my dog outside on a run, it's like, well, at least I didn't not do anything, or at least I didn't do what I've done before and turn to the bottle or something like that.
Crucial treatment in a world where 22 soldiers commit suicide every single day.
I would say that our goal and our responsibility is to take traumatizing experiences and turn it into traumatic growth.
You don't tear down the warrior. You give it new purpose, new life. There's intense wisdom that they have. Don't let go of that.
The Sparta Project is free for anyone who has served.
Through the interactions, they build that trust, they build the communication. There's a brotherhood, a community that they can fall back on to help them move forward and feel that they have a support system.
I understand my triggers. I understand the things that do have a negative impact on me and my environment. And so it encouraged me to be better than my environment.
To anybody who has ever served in any of our branches of military, you have a home with us. You absolutely have a home with us, and you deserve it.
If you know a veteran you'd like to see featured on an upcoming episode, go to our website, operationfishingfreedom.com, and click on the Nominate button.